Welcome to the Ministry Chick Network podcast. I'm Melissa Mashburn, and women in ministry are some of the most capable leaders that I know. They're also some of the most lonely. We've been talking about clarity, burnout, calling, and leadership. But underneath every one of those conversations has been one theme. We were never meant to lead alone. Today, Dr. Brandy Baxter and I are talking about why that matters and what can change when we actually do stop navigating ministry all by ourselves. We're pretty much always surrounded by people. We're helping people. We're doing all of that, but we're carrying things alone. And so how do I navigate being everybody else's safe place while not really having a safe place for myself? And then wrestling with, is this normal? Is this how it's always going to be?
It makes a lot of sense, Melissa, because I think, to your point, we can be surrounded by people, and the physical presence of others can disillusion us into thinking that we're not lonely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I totally agree with you. And especially women who are in leadership roles in ministry, it can feel like such an isolating place. I know even from my own experience, there's the challenge of those under you may or may not respect you in that position. So then they don't invite you to things. There's also those that serve with you. They assume that you're super, super busy, and so they don't invite you to things.
That's true.
And then there are also those who just don't even really know you. They know the position that you're in, and so they feel like, well, I don't really want to invite her also. And what happens for women, especially those who are in leadership roles, when you look around and you realize that you're by yourself, you can begin having a lot of self-doubt. And self-doubt kind of tanks your confidence. And then you're looking around like, who understands this? And so you don't want to ask for help. You don't want to ask the men because they have the boys club. You don't want to ask those that you're serving with because you're afraid that then they won't respect your leadership. And so you just kind of find yourself spinning around in this circle, needing help, but not asking for help. And then when they see you not asking for help, they're like, oh, she's got it. She's independent. She's strong. And on the flip side, you're feeling so isolated, so alone. And you're like, I just need somebody to support me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because that's something I've even struggled with in my own ministry career. I'm a pastor. I'm a leader. I've done all the different things, right? But so is my husband. And so we've been on ministry teams together, like you and your husband, you're on ministry teams together. But you have your own separate things, but then you still work together. And I can remember he's always in an XP role or senior leadership like that. And so I am a pastor's wife, but I also work on staff and I'm a pastor. So I don't always fit in with the other pastors' wives who most likely don't work at the church, right? Because now I'm at the church all day and we're working towards this goal. So I don't really fit with them. But then with the women on staff, they all work for my husband. So I don't fit in with them either. So as I'm navigating this, I am surrounded by a staff team and I have other people around me, but in a lot of those places, I was the only woman at the senior leadership table. And so they weren't. While we were peers and I liked them and we did things together, it wasn't the same. I couldn't go to them and ask for support or struggling with specific things because they didn't realize or they didn't completely understand the ramifications of my role and from being married to the pastor and also having a senior leadership position myself. And I think what ended up happening is, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about this community element and about not leading alone, is because the most dangerous place in ministry isn't the hard season. It's believing that you have to survive it alone. And there was a very, very long season where I thought that this is just the way it's supposed to be. And here's the other thing. I really don't. I don't think that most women want to lead alone. So the question is why? Why do women stay isolated?
When you mentioned about your experience being married to Matt, it made me think about when my husband first became a campus pastor.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very, very lonely. And
Mm-hmm.
some of it, I think, part of it was me, right? And it's because you see so much attention being given to your husband as the pastor or as the leader, and so you're like, okay, everyone is looking to him, no one's looking to me. And so even if your husband is not the pastor or the campus pastor, maybe just the men on your team, everyone's
Yeah.
kind of looking to them first for ideas, inspiration, suggestions, and solutions, and so you can be overlooked. That can lead to loneliness.
Yeah.
Or my favorite is people just don't understand you. I'm a big proponent of knowing yourself and
Mm-hmm.
your different personality types, your strengths, and understanding how you've been uniquely designed. And the
Yeah.
reason for that is in my journey, part of the friction that I've experienced in ministry is people don't understand me because I haven't helped them understand me. And so
That's
I can
good.
get real isolated when they don't understand my direct communication style,
Mm-hmm.
or they don't understand that I'm really an introvert. And so
Yeah.
helping people understand that can help manage it. But if they don't know, they will overlook me because they don't understand me. Sometimes I think women feel isolated in ministry just because of personal disappointments. You have
Mm.
an expectation that things will go a certain way, and then when it doesn't, that disappointment causes you to
Yeah.
retreat.
Yep.
I often wrestle with the disappointment of people seeing me as a complement to my husband and
Mm.
not as an independent leader.
Mm. Yep.
And so when those experiences happen, I am like, did they not see me? I'm only
Mhm.
an attaché to him. And
Mm.
so that can cause me to retreat, or just maybe
Yeah.
someone that thought I trusted and they violated that trust, or
Mm.
they leveraged their access to me as a leader in the ministry, and,
Yeah.
and then they
Yeah.
use that for their own advantage. And so just kind of being burned by someone causes me to
Mm.
pull back and isolate. Just a lot of things can make women feel isolated. I'm sure our audience listening can relate to that, just being busy, being a mom, being a wife,
Yeah.
all the things, a sister, a friend.
Yeah.
And also just thinking that you have to do it, thinking that this is my
Yep.
cross to bear and I have to do it. All of this stuff can pile up or come together and really create a situation where we feel like we have to be alone. And we don't want it. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
with me and you don't want it, put a comment in the chat, send us a
Yeah.
text message or something. You don't want to be alone. Let us know
Right.
that.
Yeah. Well, we're all for being seen as capable and competent and being able to get things done. But I think what I keep hearing and even everything you just said, and I even know from my own experience, is there's that part of us on the inside that's like, nobody's checking on me. Like,
Right.
I had this go on and everybody's like, well, she's capable and competent and all these things and she's good. Like, don't assume anything, especially if
Right.
I'm a words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts. I believe I'm all the 5 love languages, just for the record. So you can do anything like that. It just show me that you see me and hey, I see you. I get you. It's so easy for us to get stuck in caring for everybody else that we forget, I need this too, right? I
Mhm.
need community. I need other people that get it. And I want to be careful, but I don't want to be closed off. And that's a really, really fine line when it comes to women in ministry leadership. Let's just be honest. Whether you're a pastor, pastor's wife, whatever, if you're working at the church, you have access to information that other people don't, right? And
Right.
so you said this a minute ago, people using information or being burned or disappointed and all of that. So you have to learn to navigate what to share, when to share, who to share it with, how much you share, and who is a safe place. And I think that I want to land on the safe place element because that's
Mhm.
that's exactly why we built the Ministry Chick Network. It exists for that reason. It is exactly the thing that I wish that I had 25 years ago, which is why I wrote the book too, because I was like, nobody told me. Nobody told me
Mhm.
that it was gonna be hard and it was going to be
Yeah.
messy, and I think that's what I want people to hear with this specific episode is It's not community, network, all of these things. It's not just, it's not another responsibility. It's not another to-do list. It's a place where
Mm-hmm.
you actually get poured back in.
Yeah. And, Melissa, I think a lot of times when we have experienced so much of the isolation, if we're not careful, it can become habit, right? It can just
Mm,
become the way we do things.
that's fair.
And one of my favorite quotes is insanity is expecting a different result even though you're doing the same thing. And so what I would encourage the listener is, where can you create that break in this cycle of isolation so
Mm,
that you can have a different result? If you're like me, you're probably like, I've got my routine, I've got my process, everything is working well, I don't need another thing to do. And yet, if you're on the inside feeling like, but I want someone to check on me, you're going to have to
yeah,
create some kind of a break in the process to make that happen. And I agree
that's
with you, Melissa. This is where being part of our network comes into play, because it's a community of women, a community of women in ministry, a community of women in ministry who understand. And that's what brought you and I together. We had this
absolutely.
immediate connection. And I'm like, she gets it. And you were
Mhm.
like, she gets it. And we were like,
Yep.
we get it together.
You're laughing, I'm laughing, but it literally happened just like that. We went from just meeting each other, sitting down to a meal together, to right into the deep end. And everybody else is like, what are you guys talking about? We're changing the world here, people. We're changing the world. Oh my gosh. I'm not wrong though. I'm not wrong. And I
You're
think
not
that's,
wrong.
I think that's the beauty of the Ministry Chick Network, is having a place where you can literally sit at a table. We sat at a table, just met each other, shared who we are, what we do, and it was boom. There was like
Mhm.
magnets that went together, and we're like, what about, yes, me too. What about, yes, of course. Oh my, did you think of, and that's where it went. And here we are today from that,
Mhm.
having a space where you could sit there and go, I get it. And you don't have to explain everything and go into all the details of what you do and how you do it.
Mhm. Mhm. I think it's the authentic community, really just being able to show up as I am and not having to worry. And so I know, Melissa, we've got some exciting news this month because our membership has just been such a gift to you and I. And I
Mm-hmm.
just know it's a gift to our audience, but it's not going to always remain where it is today. And
Nope.
so those listening to this episode, just know that we have just seen the value of the membership grow exceedingly. And so we've got to kind of keep up with the cost of that.
Mm-hmm.
And people may be listening and saying, like, well, can I really afford $45 a month for a membership? And I think the better question is, what does it cost you to lead alone? Right?
Mm.
I already shared what it cost me, all of
Yes.
those things,
Yeah.
the isolation, the burnout, the lack of trust. And so to be able to have a space where I can just show up and share that with other people, it,
Yeah.
it would be worth it to me.
Yeah.
Some of the other costs that people overlook
Mm-hmm.
would just simply be not feeling seen. One of the things I love about our membership is when we get together for our monthly coaching calls and women from all across the country are giving the virtual high five and sharing with each other and connecting and resourcing and partnering. It is such a delight and a gift to be a part of that.
Yeah. Another thing, I think what I love seeing with our members in the membership community is they actually stop second guessing some of their decisions. We have had, just this last 6, 8 weeks or whatever, we have had some of the most of breakthrough moments with the women in the membership community. We're getting messages, and this is what's happening, and oh my goodness, can you believe this? We also had, I think it was our last coaching call, somebody was navigating some conflict, and we were able to all just
Mm-hmm.
stop and help her walk through how do I do that in a way that's honoring, but also is advocating for myself. And so they're standing up for themselves. They're gaining confidence. And instead of trying to be everybody else's support system, they're actually getting their own support system that gets it. And so they are not just surviving, they are growing and developing, and part of that is through the network. And so this isn't really, it's not a financial decision. It's an identity
Right.
decision. And so it's
Mhm.
basically saying my leadership, my development matters enough to invest in. And that's what we want women to hear today.
Mhm. It makes me think about how many other things do I invest in?
Mm.
My daughter was a swimmer. Oh my gosh. We had all the swim equipment. I bought a tent. I bought a cooler. I bought stadium seats so we could be at the events. And then my other daughter is an equestrian. And oh my gosh, we bought so many things to invest in that. And yet I have to pause and say, Brandy, what have you invested in for your own
Mhm.
development as a
That's good.
Christian leader?
Mm.
It's different, right? I don't
Mm.
show up the same way in my ministry as my peers who are in corporate. There's a different environment there.
Yeah.
I serve at a higher calling being in ministry. And
Yeah.
so what better investment than for me to spend the time, the energy, the financial resources into being poured into figuring out how I can grow and navigate and lead in a way that's God honoring.
Yeah. And when you said how many things do we invest in, I'm like, I started going through all my subscriptions in my head and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's a lot. There's a lot of things that are automatically there and they're not feeding me in the
Mm.
way that I know this membership is. And we talked a couple of episodes ago about the fact that we had 3 tiers when we began. And then instead of shrinking everything back for that price of the lowest tier, we expanded everything to the highest tier and left the price at the lowest tier. So we
Mhm.
want to make sure that the women that are listening and that are a part of this community are understanding, like, am I going to keep leading the way I've been leading, or am I ready to lead differently? And so, listen, we know you don't have time. We wear a lot of hats, we wear a lot of titles, we meet different needs for different people. This isn't another weekly commitment. The content is
Mhm.
available when you need it. The monthly coaching call is the only live component. So you take what you need when you need it and when it fits your schedule. And then the monthly coaching call is when we get together as a community. Besides, the membership community has its own community inside of it. So you're kind of talking and networking and connecting with these women all the time.
Yeah, it's almost like our own separate Facebook group, but we're
Yeah.
in the community. So instead of like your stuff being open and
Yes.
available to everyone, it's only for women who have made a commitment just like you to
Hmm.
being poured into. They've made the same investment. And so we can have a little bit more transparency. We have a little bit more fun because, why not?
Yeah.
But the community within the membership is also a neat place where you can just drop in and share some updates and let us know how things are going in your world.
Yeah. Well, we've had some real time prayer, real time, hey, I'm in the ordination process, real time things like that that are going on. So even if you're saying, I don't know if I'll even fit in, listen, if you've spent this summer listening to the podcast, you already know. We get it. That's exactly how I feel, right? You already belong.
Mhm.
You already have a seat at our table. But we do want to be transparent. When we launched this 18 months ago and we've iterated and expanded and added things and we've got more things coming. So exciting. We started it at $45 a month, but we always said that we were going to raise the price when we got it all locked in, and September 1st, it's all locked in, and that's the difference. And we don't want you to join just because you're trying to save $22 a month. It's not it's not
Right.
about that. I mean, $22 is $22. I'm not going to lie. That's a deal, right? But we really want you to join because you've decided that your leadership is worth investing in. So, if don't sit there and go, maybe someday, or maybe when I get this, and this, because let this moment be the moment that you stop waiting and start taking that step.
Mhm. And unfortunately, it's going to cost either way. It's
Yep.
going to either cost you with the financial investment, or it's going to cost you with all of the things that you miss out on. It's going to cost you in the isolation. You're going to still be isolated if
Yeah.
you're isolated now. That's where it's going to continue to cost you. It will continue to cost you in just feeling exhausted. You know, if you're like me, I'm a researcher, and so I can stay up all night trying to solve a problem. But if I could just like send a quick message via a chat feature and have other women around the country help me solve it, I can go to bed at night. And so there's a cost there.
That's fair.
Also, just the clarity around your calling.
Uh,
It's still a thing in modern America where women sometimes don't get the support when they express their calling in
yeah.
ministry. And so to have women who affirm you and believe in you and encourage you, that's a resource that for me is priceless. And
Yeah.
so you can, like Melissa said, you can hop on now before the price increases, or you can wait and pay a little bit more, or you can wait and not join at all and then still have the things that are weighing you down and keeping you isolated.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You're always going to have a seat at our table. You're always going to have a seat at our table. It has to be the right time for you. Our
Right.
hope is that you would understand that nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you are struggling, or if you are isolated, or you are having issues or whatever, what better time to say, I could use somebody to go along this journey with me than right now, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Brandy, thank you so much for sharing and being a part of this conversation. Friend, if you're listening, you've been leading alone for entirely too long. There is a room full of women who understand what you carry because they carried it, or they're carrying it right now too. And so the
Mm-hmm.
Ministry Chick Network exists to resource women of faith with practical leadership development, coaching, community, and encouragement so that you don't have to navigate ministry by yourself anymore. Yes, the individual membership is $45 a month through the end of the enrollment window, which is August 31st, and then it increases to $67 a month. If this summer has confirmed that you're ready for something different, we'd love to welcome you, because you were never meant to lead alone. We will see you next time on the Ministry Chick Network podcast. Bye-bye.